Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Moshe Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Moshe Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia is available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Moshe Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Moshe Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And also, don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show at paypal.com/Mike Wagner voiceover. Also, Anchor FM/support. You can also check out the merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show for some t-shirts and some cool gift ideas. And for more great gift ideas and some books, go to Amazon.com/MeInMotionZia for some pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, and a lot more. So do it today. We're here with a terrific lady who is the CEO of 5 Power Market Research in New York City and specializing in visual and centralized elements and takes market research to a whole new level. And her company is being considered the Tesla of research platform. So we'll talk more about that. And she also worked at NBC Radio in New York for The Source and also represented American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. Also worked as a producer for Radio Express. And also basically she's been just taking market research to a whole new level. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown New York City, the CEO of 5 Power Market Research, the very multi-talented Gail Conn. Gail, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for that fine introduction. Yeah, I've done a lot of interesting things. I've also worked for in the big .com bubble for a company called broadcast.com, where I worked for Mark Cuban, who is my boss.
Really?
And rode that big bubble, in the late 90s through working at Yahoo. And then I started my first company right after that.
Wow. And what was that first company?
The company was called MindClick. We started a market research company then, but what I realized when I first got into the business, we were doing online market research, but we didn't have our own software. So we rented somebody else's back end to collect the data. And when I started this company, when I started 5 Power, I realized that in order to be distinct, I had to be able to control how I collected my data. So that gave me an edge in my business.
And of course, for those who are wondering what market research is, it used to be back in the day where you pick up a phone if somebody calls you like during dinner time or so, and instead of selling in newspapers or a subscription to wherever or timeshare, it's like they ask you about certain product. It's like, what coffee do you drink, or how's the quality of water in New York City, or tell us about what you saw on TV last night. So market research, it's just not just what you watch, what you drank, what you ate. There's more to it.
Well, there's a couple of different kinds of market research. I do what they call quantitative research. It has some qualitative aspects. What is quantitative research? Quantitative research means that when I do a survey, I'm giving the client back statistical valid data. So I work with doesn't matter what group, I can do it in the United States, anywhere in the world, but I give you back information in 30% of the market says this and 20% of the market says that, but it's extremely specific because I drill down into usually by demographic, could be even by zip code. It gets very, very granular what I deliver. And qualitative research means, why do you feel that way? They're open-ended questions. It's more about how you, not only how you feel, but what you like about something. And we want your opinion, and we want you to write that in words. So I want to get from your mouth what you say. I don't want to make you say it the way I want you to do it. I want to hear it from you. So that's qualitative.
And of course, too, there's not just, with your typical pencil and paper back in the day, going from house to house, door to door, or, standing in a shopping mall or a store or anything like that. There was a phone surveys, but then also people came into a center where they got to sit down and say taste a drink. It's like, difference between Coke and Pepsi, or, a different type of cracker, or say a brand new, say a beer, stuff like that.
Today, what's interesting is you can send people a product before a survey, and then you prompt them on your cell phone and say, hey, get online, you're going to take this survey. We do very interesting things. We give people an opportunity to build a product if we want. We have them literally can look at videos second by second so we can understand what people don't relate to or don't understand. There's no aspect of a package that's left undone, because today you can online, you can magnify and glass over it and eliminate elements. I mean, there's just very, very interesting ways to solve problems. all using, voice, video, animations, visual, but it's all an online survey, and they're programmed and built for each client based on problems, because we have a creative team in-house. So it goes from research, which, we're obviously building the question design and the algorithm and all that. And then it goes to creative to figure out how to make this engaging, because people, if they don't see something interesting going on, they're not going to pay attention and they're not going to take it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's also the 7 stages of market research. And of course, there's primary versus secondary, exploratory, descriptive, and casual. I mean, just all kinds of market research out there.
Right. I'm in the primary research space. And another thing you probably don't know that I do, which is very unique, is I do a lot of litigation research as well. So I do a lot of litigation research. When lawyers go to court over things like copyright, patent, and trademark infringement, I work on those kind of cases. You can't go to a judge today and say, gee, they infringed on my patent. You have to be able to prove it. So we help build legal cases for big corporations and the government as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is interesting. And also, how about some other types of research? I mean, you had litigation, and it's not just, market, primary, secondary litigation. And what other research do you guys do?
Well, we do what they call, we do innovations research. We do all kinds of consumer research. We do B2B research. If a company is trying to figure out how to talk to, their customers, what if, and I'll just throw this out. What if an IBM wants to talk to their customers? What new can they say about their products? Particularly older companies, everybody thinks they know what they do, but guess what? They're doing new things. How do they even sell those things? How do they talk about them? How do they present them? How do you get attention? Medical devices, you built device number 1, but you're going to build another one. Don't you want to show doctors where you're going, get their opinion? So we can do all kinds of visual. The reason we do it visually is because it stimulates you to read questions. After a while, it's like watching paint dry. People don't want to be bored. Mm-hmm. And also, they already did the SATs, these little radio button things, and just go to the next page. It gets dull after 5 minutes. You're ready to go to sleep. And
yeah,
right, exactly. So we do things to stimulate you. Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, we had an interview. I've been pressing the button the whole time you told me to.
Right. So we do things to stimulate you and even amuse you, because to a certain extent, there's ways that I can even entertain you. Like sometimes we'll drop in an animation when you least expect it, and people tell us, God, that was fun. We need to keep you on your toes, and that's what we do. And so it makes a huge difference in the completion rates. And also when people write in full sentences, when you ask them a question, they really want to tell you something because they've been engaged the whole time. And it's only 10 minutes. We try and keep these surveys to just about 10 minutes, not longer. You can pack a big punch online in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And that's very fascinating, too. And we'll talk more about 5 Power and also the beginnings of it. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mosendia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mian Mosendia. Available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mosendia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mosendia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And support the Mike Wagner Show at mikewagner.com on PayPal and also on support at Anchor FM. And don't forget to check out the Amazon store at amazon.com/Mike Wagner Show for some t-shirts and really cool items. If you want some more books and great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/me and Mosensia and check it out today. We're here with the CEO of 5 Power Market Research, Gail Conn, on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about the Star Market Research, very interesting. You had a radio background, and also which you also did some radio research as well too. You worked at NBC in New York for The Source, which was pretty much one of those feeds, like 3 to 5 minute bits, just like what you see on social media. Pretty much a groundbreaker. You also represent American Top 40 at Casey Kasem. Also did Radio Express. Maybe just tell us a little about what you did.
So at Radio Express, I was one of the heads of marketing. Mm-hmm. And what we had to do was, it was a very interesting thing. Casey Kasem, Radio Express was selling Casey Kasem's American Top 40 around the world. Mm-hmm. And they were in so many markets in Asia, in Africa, in Europe. And one of the things we were always trying to do was attract new sponsors. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I had to do, which was a really fun thing, and kind of one of the most hilarious things I've ever done in my life, was we were attracting a new sponsor, and we thought we were going to get Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, really? You make me hungry already.
Right. So Kentucky Fried Chicken has a university like McDonald's does, like Burger King, meaning that there is a difference between the owned and operated people and the corporation that own their stores, right?
Really interesting.
Yeah. So it's very different. So, all these companies own some of their stores themselves, but then there's operators, people who buy the franchises and, build them out, and obviously with the corporate help, and then they sort of build out other stores. So we were sent, my very dear friend and I, at the time, were sent to Hawaii to go to a Kentucky Fried Chicken University to meet potential clients. And I have never, first of all, I'm a consumer of Kentucky Fried Chicken, but I really didn't understand the ins and outs of how serious people from all over the world, from South Africa, from Japan, from Brazil, how, people, this is really big business. And all day long, from morning to night, these guys, and it was mostly men, were in conferences learning about how to build their franchise and tasting chicken. And
really? Wow.
So this is some of the fun things you had to do and try and get people's attention. And here I am trying to sell them American Top 40 radio in their market instead of having to get on a plane to go to Tokyo. It was a very, very fun and crazy thing to do. But Casey Kasem obviously was so great because the show was so ubiquitous and was easy to sell kind of around the world. But getting sponsors is always a challenge.
And so, I was thinking about Kentucky Fried Chicken University in Hawaii, and I thought, it's like, it was like, how come in Hawaii couldn't they do it in Kentucky itself? It's like, what are the 11 herbs and spices? Makes you wonder about that.
How else do you get people from around the world to want to come to a convention to for a few days just taste different chickens, different coatings, learn about how you fry better, how to maximize your space. So people would come to Hawaii, no problem, for 4 days to come to Hawaii. So, I went too, but that was one of my great Radio Express stories, just because I'll never forget going to Kentucky Fried Chicken University.
Makes me hungry for some after this. So how do you get the 11 herbs and spices? I guess that's another market research question.
Exactly. Well, they're never going to tell you that, but that's another story.
Exactly. Now it's the internet. It's all out there, of course, in many different forms. You also worked at NBC for The Source as well. That's sort of groundbreaking as well, too. It's just 3 to 5 minute stories.
So The Source was ages, like right when I was sort of really in my early 20s when I got out of school. And The Source was really interesting because at the time they did a lot of celebrity interviews, and you got to figure that we were at, Rockefeller Center, 40 Rock, people would come, there's all the TV execs, and West Coast is very different than East Coast. So the TV execs were there, but these were the business people as opposed to the creative people. But radio always had a really big market in New York. And so people would come and get interviewed live on radio. Like, we're not, we're live, but, it's different. They'd come into the sound booth and, we'd have rock and roll stars and, all these different bands would come in, and then we'd talk politics. And the source was like this very early mix of like music and information. And, there were talent people, talking about what's going on. And it was a very interesting thing. Unfortunately, times changed, and I think NBC was not willing to support it anymore. And the radio formats around the United States changed tremendously because, radio used to have a different sound in every single market. It was very unique. And there were a lot of independent radio stations. They were just not only owned by one big company. And that, as business started to change, does it mean that everybody's going to get the same feed? Meaning it was just going to go out to all these markets and everybody would get the same news, and then the music would be played the same. And sort of radio really was much, much different in the 80s. And certainly before that, but every market you'd go to, you'd have very famous DJs and people who would talk about the news, and it's very personalized. We lost that personalization. And it's really a shame because music is so expressive in the way we talk about it, and the way we see it, and what we listen by market, and that kind of all went away as the market changed so much, and companies kind of went in and decided they didn't see the profitability in keeping these independent stations the way they were.
And of course, you also made the transition into market research, and you can just tell us about that, how you got in, and talk more about the first company, and we'll continue with 5Power as well.
So I started in market research because I had worked when I worked at Yahoo had bought two companies. One was broadcast.com for $5.7 billion. And I was in the room the day we went public. We rang the bell in Wall Street. There was our big investment banking company and all that kind of stuff. And then the year before, Yahoo had bought another company called GeoCities. GeoCities was the first personalized homepage on the internet. We're talking the late 90s here. They had 1 million unique users. They spent close to, $4.5, $6, $7 billion on that one. And basically what happened was Yahoo squashed both technologies. They essentially didn't know how to monetize them. And having seen that go down in corporate America, I was so horrified. We could have given everybody, iPhones and MacBooks and God knows what else, and they just still had money over. You know what I mean? We're talking billions of dollars here, right? And so I realized that companies don't always make sound decisions. And sometimes they have even great technology. They don't know how to market. They even buy companies at that level. And because they don't know how to market it, they just squash it, or they shelve it, or, they sell it for pennies on the dollar because they don't know what to do. And that concept really fascinated me because I realized that it's insane that they can't do that. What's wrong?
Exactly.
So, it was a burning desire to make a difference on some level. And so I got into market research, and the first client I ever got was Nestle. And I worked on, unfortunately, a very doomed project as well. Nestle was going to make these small handheld cakes, and they had 6 flavors at the time. It doesn't matter the name. It's a little very, very long ago, over 25 years ago. And the point was that Nestle had, we were still in the R&D phase. R&D meaning they were still researching, developing the actual recipe, but they had bought a factory and they knew what they wanted to do. And so initially we did what they call man on the street interviews. We'd stop people in a mall, say, here, you want to taste this cake? What do you think? So one was like white chocolate with raspberry. One had chocolate, one had peanut butter. They were little cakes. And one of the things we realized, we started doing deeper market research, bigger, like an online study with like 1,500 people. And we realized that who's going to eat this cake? Well, guess what? Women in the late afternoon, before their husbands come home and when the kids come back and they need a breather, they're going to sit down and have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. They're going to have a little cake. It's kind of like a little pleasure in the afternoon, like as Europeans do. Many people have a little piece of cake late in the day before dinner, just because it's that pick-me-up to kind of get you through that dinner, get yourself going, and then boom, 7:30 dinner, 8 o'clock, whatever. But,
Wow.
Americans eat a little earlier, but, we were going to do this. But one of the big problems we realized was, first of all, they didn't have their distribution down completely. Now, when you're launching a product, there's a lot of elements that go into launching the product, what you're going to call it, how you're going to market the product, meaning what you're going to say about the product to the audience, how you're going to package it, and where it's going to be. So they initially thought they were going to sell this product in the bakery at grocery stores. But when grocery stores looked at it, they went, this is not so unique. We can do this ourselves. And why do we need you? Because they would want a premium for their product, right? Based on the fact that they were a big corporation and they had a name, right? So you're buying a cake with a name on it, right? As opposed to a no-name cake. So then they suggested, well, why don't you put it in the dairy aisle? Well, then the recipe has to be tweaked because then you have to shrink wrap the cake. And it has to have a longer shelf life. So there has to be stability to it, right? Because if you're selling a fresh cake in the bakery, that's daily. But if you're putting something in the dairy aisle, that has to stay around maybe a week, right? Because it's now at this point you're wrapping it. So that didn't suit them. And then somebody said, well, if we're going to put it in the dairy aisle, because dairy is a pretty expensive place to be because it has a short period of time. So it's a stabilized product and a lot of turnover. Why don't we put it in the freezer? Well, freezer is the cheapest part of any grocery store, right? And a freezer is kind of no man's land because it could be there indefinitely to a certain extent, but then it's a different product to a certain extent. So we had that as a huge problem, stepping block. Then the second problem we had, Nestle has another product called Nescafé.
Nescafé, right? I remember that.
Right. Very big brand for them, Nescafé coffee, right? Well, we thought, why don't we marry these two products together? Like you'd sit down with their coffee and you'd have their cake. Well, but a big brand doesn't want to help out a little brand, a brand that nobody's heard of. So why are they going to tarnish their reputation by building this little brand up? So we couldn't make that happen because even in corporations, a big division doesn't necessarily want to work on the, help the little division or the innovation division or any of that stuff. So essentially what happened, you get to see how companies work and you realize there's a lot of ways in that you can help them with marketing and understanding how to circumvent some of these problems before they even start.
Wow.
And so that was my first foray into market research.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. And how does 5-Power differentiate from the competition? There are 10 things to consider, and Gail can talk about a few of those. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Moshenzia of Missing, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. We'll be back with the CEO of 5-Power, Gail Conn, after this timeout.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Moshenzia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzia.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with CEO of 5 Power Market Research, Gail Conn of New York City, here on the Mike Wagner Show, talking about a good portion of the history of market research, how it's done, her days of radio with NBC The Source, American Top 40 with Casey Kasem, Radio Express, and more. And of course, talked about 5 Power, the company being the most unique, considered the Tesla of research platforms. And of course, on 5 Power Markets Research, there's a website as well, and also lists the 10 5 Power differentiators to consider, and why would you consider 5 Power. And maybe one of them is basically with innovation, skill, perseverance, and experience.
Yeah, I mean, market research has to, first of all, it's hard to write a questionnaire, meaning it's hard to be non-partial. You have to be unbiased when you're writing a questionnaire. So figuring out how to write that's important. Then the other, obviously building the survey, so what it needs to look like and how it needs to move. And today things have to work on mobile, on desktops, on tablets, on all kinds of, whether it's iPhones or Android. So it has to work on that. Mm-hmm. Then the other thing is where you get the people that take the survey. It's very important to verify people. And, having this legal background that we do legal research, we're very picky about how we look at the data coming in, because for us, it's like when a survey is live, it's like you got to watch it like you're timing a hard-boiled egg, because if you're not watching, a lot can go wrong. So because data is live when it's coming in, we look at how time spent, how long people take to answer a question, what they've done. There's speed bumps. You put in things that, are little kind of trick questions to people. It doesn't make like that question looks like one that came before. You don't want to use that person, because you have to say, hey, that person might be skewing the results of the whole study, because these are very tight quotas. So you really need to stay within that. So there's so many factors that make it unique and better, but it really has to do that we also have an in-house creative team. So every time we write a survey, it then has to go to a creative team to figure out how to express it. It's kind of like saying, gee, I've seen all the Westerns there are out there, but somebody makes a new one and then you go, God, I never saw that aspect of Westerns before. People have to reinterpret things and bring new light to information. And that's what we do. That's what we help companies to figure out how to bring forth their information in new ways.
Mm-hmm. And it's also too with important market research. It's you have to be fast, reliable, and flexible, and also you have to make it very easy for people to complete and make it user friendly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've worked with kids as young as 3, and the oldest recipients we've ever done a study with were all in their 90s.
Wow, 90s. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I hope to live that long to do a survey with you.
Yeah, and we've done it in, you name a language, we've done it. Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, all kinds of languages, because you do global work today.
Mm-hmm. Right. And also, do you have like a translation device or service that you speak in English and then it automatically translates to a language, like say German, Russian, French, or Vietnamese or Japanese?
Yeah, we work with translation houses. They start out, we only work with what they call native speakers. So we have to evaluate that person is truly a native speaker. So it goes from English into the native speak. Then we program our survey in that. And then it goes back into, then they translate it back into, and then we get it from them and it goes from their language back into English. So the results get translated. Everything goes back and forth with native speakers.
hmm And also too, that you also have a lot of security devices as well too, like with like say digital fingerprinting, and also
Oh yeah.
like I said, voice recognition. And what are some other features that really make it secure?
Well, we do verifications on the phone often, like you'll call people and you'll ask them, certain kinds of questions that will verify if they are who they say they are. Because, that person's like, you're going to know certain things about your family. If I ask you questions that you have to verify who you are, right? So
Right,
so
exactly.
we do that as well.
hmm and of course, too, that of course, in your honest opinions as well, too. Do you think the market research, thanks to social media, is making it a lot easier, or more of a challenge? Back in the day, like it was like pick up the phone, write out a form, or you get
Well,
stopped at a mall and everything. So,
this is kind of the problem that's happening that where everybody's up against right now, which are things like AI and social listening. The problem is, as the world has opened up, right, we have no idea. Everybody has an email address. That person, when I say we have no idea, it could be an AOL address or an address from Yahoo or Gmail, but that person could be sitting in Islamabad. That person could be sitting in the Philippines. Unless we go back to the IP address, which we often do, you have no idea where that person is. And obviously, in certain types of studies, we do look at every IP address.
hmm
That's right. So there you go. I mean, if you're not looking at that, you got a problem too.
and of course, most importantly, how can the customer benefit from using your product, and how can you help clients to get the most out of it in market research?
Well, the thing is, how they can benefit is it is a difference how every aspect of the survey is set up, how you get your respondent list and how you also evaluate the data. I mean, we've been in this business for a really long time, over 20 years, but the people who work with me and are heads of research have over 40 years of experience.
Wow.
So between that, I mean, that there's not a data set they don't understand. They work with big data, they work with small data, they actually even teach data at a university level. They've been deposed in court. We know what we deliver and the clients we deliver to. And if anybody wanted to look at my client list, I've only worked in this with blue chip clients. That's all I've ever done. And we've delivered over and over again to those kinds of people. So that must stand for some sort of record.
hmm And that is very amazing too. And then how can people get a hold of you, and what's the website?
The website is PHI Power, POWER.com. Phi, by the way, is a perfect sequence of numbers from the Fibonacci code. So
Okay.
It's all about perfection and making sure that everything is perfect. So, and, I, on my web address, it's easy to catch me. So, email me, no problem.
We certainly will do so. We're here with CEO of 5 Power Market Research, Gail Conn, out of New York City, here on the Mike Wagner Show. In just a few more minutes, we'd love to have you back on next year, and talk more as well too. And of course, some Kentucky Fried Chicken and whatever else, and maybe a little a better cake than Nestle. I mean, I can just go to a bakery right now and just get a Kentucky Fried and bring it back home and have a little coffee to go with it. Maybe research on that, and what can we expect from you guys in 2021 and beyond, Gail?
Oh, wow. Well, we're constantly building new tools to solve problems in different ways, and that's what makes it innovative. It's like, Tesla built a new car. It's a car, but look at what he did. He created a new approach to a car. To put a battery, so it's the same sort of philosophy as that the way we do our work. It's constantly bringing in new tools, new approaches, and that's what makes it exciting.
And very exciting indeed. And who do you consider biggest influence in the career, Gail?
In my career, wow. Well, to be frank, it's not one individual, but it was collectively people I met along the way that I felt were intelligent and somebody and people I looked up to. I mean, I found that people who worked hard and had a lot of integrity, it makes a difference to me. And I did have one sales guy that I worked with in this company who had worked at the Wall Street Journal and actually set it up in Asia. And he was just such a provocative, interesting man. I learned a tremendous amount from him. He was very Very inspiring.
And that's very inspiring as well. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Don't listen to people say do what you love and you've got to follow your own path. The truth is, you pick something that you think you're going to be good at. You may love it some days and not love it at others. But the point is, it does take dedication and commitment, and things, as they stumble along, you learn more things and you become better at your job. There's no manual when you're an entrepreneur. You just have to dig in and start. And things start to move. So I don't believe in do what you love. I don't even know what that means.
Well, we'll do some research on that and we'll talk about it next time. CEO Gail Conn of 5 Power Market Research here on the Mike Wagner Show. Gail, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from me. Looking forward to having you in soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you, have you back. And once again, tell us about your website and how can people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me at PowerPower.com, and that's the best way to do it.
That sounds very good. Once again, Gail, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch. And next time, bring some Kentucky Fried Chicken with a little cake here.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionsea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.